And we're back with the semi-finals of the Edison tournament. On the left side we have Danny playing his Flamvell frogs, and on the right side we have Bene playing his Blackwing deck. And both players are very experienced in the Edison format. Bene has even played back in the day, and I think this is also his original playmat from back then that he has won. So it's a really cool nostalgic feature that he has there. And we have Danny just starting with the usual frog plays, and Bene answering with the MST, destroying the Raigeki break, dealing some damage with the Bora. And it is back to Danny summoning the Tribon frog. Now summoning the Substitute and going through his whole deck. And it seems like Bene is thinking whether he wants to respond to this. I believe he has a set Torrential or Icarus attack here, but he chooses to wait. The frog stuff just continuing. It's the usual do block he's putting up there. Now coming to an end with the double do frog, so Bene cannot attack this. And Danny feeling pretty strong here with a huge hand, many resources he can use. Now Bene has chosen to use his Icarus attack after the do block had resolved, and going for a synchro play with Blizzard. Going for the Armed Wing, which is the smartest play. So the Armed Wing can fuel a future Vayu in the graveyard, and also he keeps the Brownek or the Goyo Guardian in his extra deck if the Armed Wing gets outed. And here we have the Creature Swap, which is a really cool tech card in this version of the deck, because he plays the Flamvell Fire Dog, so he can always just give the opponent a weak monster and run over it to get some value of the dog. Now also using Pot of Avarice, trying to find something. Yeah, shuffling really good here. And now sitting with, I believe, 7 cards in hand. And main phase 2 also summoning the Swap Frog. Setting a card here, a very strong board for Danny. Danny using the Brain Control on the Armed Wing, but Danny using the Raigeki Break preemptively on the Shiroko, so Bene cannot use the Shiroko to pump the Armed Wing, and so Danny saves some of his life points here. With the Chaos sadly hitting the bottomless trap hole, so not getting much value out of it. But still, the Armed Wing on the board is enough pressure to put Bene down to 3,500. And here Danny tried to normal summon twice, he forgot that he already did it. now special summoning the Swap Frog. Using the Rekindling. And just going for the brown egg to bounce the last back row of Bene, going for game here. And it's 1-0 for the Flamvell Frog deck of Danny. And we're into game 2. This time again Bene is starting. But it seems that he is not quite sure what to do here, and he just starts with a aura in attack position and a set card. Then responding with a set monster. Usually this is a Frog. But here nothing much has happened yet. But in fact it is a Frog that was set. Then you're flipping it up, activating the creature swap, and Bene is responding with the Icarus attack, destroying the Frog as well as the creature swap here. But still, Danny can follow this up with the substitute from hand, summoning the Swap Frog, dumping the Tree Frog. Just the usual frog shenanigans. Getting a pretty good setup here. Now, Bene has Black Whirlwind, which is a very strong and key card of the deck, but only can summon his Kalut. Still getting the search for the Blizzard here, and pushing for some damage. Back to Danny, he is summoning the Tree Frog and immediately slamming down the Kaios, targeting the Kalut to deal some bonus damage to Bene. Attacking directly, and here he's thinking whether to respond with his back row, and he chooses to use the Dimensional Prison. I think he could have waited with the Prison because he does have the Blizzard in hand and could have just gone for the yugioh Guardian, but he wanted to play his Pachi, and normally Pachi is a really strong card versus the Frog deck, but it gets just answered by the Flamvell Magician, which just runs over it. And now he's using his Blizzard, also chaining the Black Whirlwind, searching a Vayu. And now, like I said, he can just Synchro Summon into level 6 for yugioh Guardian and running over the Flamvell Magician, getting it to his own field so it doesn't hit the graveyard for the Rekindling. Danny on Nobleman of Extermination, hitting the set Heavy Storm. And just attacking over the Flamvell Magician. And now Diddy Crow is hitting the Flamvell Magician. Benny keeping the Swap Frog on the field to preserve some life points. It is back to Bene. And it seems he doesn't have much to do, so he just attacks the Swap Frog again and getting it to his own field. Another Diddy Crow on the Tree Frog. This is extremely hard for Danny, so his whole setup got outed by the two crows, and here he's just desperate to find an out to this yugioh Guardian. already down to 3,400 with only a swap frog left on the field. It looks like he didn't draw much to do here. Maybe you got a glimpse of his boss card in the deck. But the brain control seals the deal, and it is one for both. And now Danny starting as the frog player is always a very nice thing, because you can get your setup for free without worrying about the opponent's board, and you're just ahead in tempo. And he immediately goes for the special summon of the swap frog, normal summoning the Substitute and setting up his 2 block turn 1. All the frogs gone. There are only strong cards in Danny's deck left. So every card he draws is a potential insane top deck. Bene just setting a card and thinking whether he wants to set another, and there isn't much for him to do here, just passing it back to Danny, who is summoning the Magician, which gets answered by the Torrential Tribute, and both 2 frogs are triggering here, adding 2 swap frogs back to Danny's hand. And Bene still has nothing on his board, just passing back to Danny, deciding if he wants to summon the Freebound frog here, but he chooses to leave it in the graveyard and just summoning the Flamvell Fire Dog. So this is just to play around a potential Shura, and Bene desperately trying to draw into something to do here, using the Allure of Darkness. Getting a quick read on the Fire Dog. This isn't a very common card in the format. Now specialing the Cyber Dragon. This is a good answer versus the Fire Dog. You can just run over it. But he chooses to summon the Kalut and using the Mind Control, thinking that the Fire Dog is a tuner, but he had to learn the hard way that it isn't. So this is, I believe, the play that lost him the game here, because now the Fire Dog stays on the board and can deal some additional damage. Danny having the brain control, special summoning the swap frog, and even this is just immense pressure, but there are still things left to do for Danny here, thinking how he should play out his turn. He's tributing the Cyber Dragon and now even summoning his boss monster of the deck, the Frost and Flame Dragon, and it is just game. And Danny won, going up into the finals, and here you can see Bene didn't draw really anything. It was a full brick. It still was a good run for him, and as always, I hope you enjoyed the video. Stay tuned for the final match of the tournament, and I will see you soon. Have an amazing day. Bye bye.